This module is called Pronoun Power. An example of a pronoun in Spanish is lo, which we've been using a lot for it. For example, what's the verb to do? Hacer. And how would you say to do it? Hacerlo. What's the verb to eat? Comer. To eat it? Comerlo. The verb to see? Ver. To see it? Verlo. So throughout the course so far, we've been using the pronoun of lo to mean it. Now the thing is that there are many other pronouns in Spanish. And on this slide, you can see just some of them. We have lo, la, los, las, te, le, me, nos. And believe me when I tell you that there are even more than that. Now, the good news is that they all work in the same way as lo, when you add them on to the end of verbs. And learning how to use them gives you incredible power in your Spanish. So the purpose of this module is to help you to master them. I think it's safe to say that we are already feeling comfortable with the use of lo. So let's try to attack some of the others. The next one that I would like to address is te. And te in Spanish will stand for you. For example, if we wanted to say to see you, we would take the verb ver, and instead of adding lo for it, we would now add te for you. So the sound would be verte. How would you say, I want to see you? Quiero verte. I want to see you tonight. Quiero verte esta noche. What about I need to see you tonight? Necesito verte esta noche. I can see you tomorrow. Puedo verte mañana. I'm sorry, but I can't see you now. Lo siento, pero no puedo verte ahora. How do you say he or she wants? Quiere. He wants to see you now. Quiere verte ahora. She doesn't want to see you. No quiere verte. Let's change verbs. What is the verb to say or to tell? Decir. So how do you think you might say to tell you? Decirte. As you can see, we changed verbs, decir. And to that we simply added on the pronoun for you, which is te. So to tell you or to say to you, decirte. How would you say, I want to tell you something? Quiero decirte algo. I need to tell you something important. Necesito decirte algo importante. What about, I can't tell you now? No puedo decirte ahora. Going back to our main slide of pronouns, we have lo for it and te for you. The next one I would like to cover is me, which is very easy because me stands for me. How would you say to see me? verme. Here again, we have the full verb, the infinitive, ver. And we simply add on the pronoun. So, tú, see, me, verme. It's curious that it's the exact same spelling as in English. It's just a difference in sound. We have me in English, but me in Spanish. How would you say, she wants to see me? Quiere verme. She doesn't want to see me. No quiere verme. What about, she doesn't want to tell me? No quiere decirme. What is you want in Spanish? Quieres. Now, how would you ask? Do you want to tell me now? ¿Quieres decirme ahora? How would you say, can you tell me now? ¿Puedes decirme ahora? Why can't you tell me now? ¿Por qué no puedes decirme ahora? How would you say you don't want to see me? No quieres verme. Up next, I have a little surprise and a bonus for you. We already know that the pronoun of lo means it in Spanish. But lo will also mean him. So we have it or him with lo. For example, if you wanted to express, I need to see him tonight, it would be, necesito verlo esta noche. Again, this is normally understood in the context of the conversation if you are meaning, I need to see it tonight, or I need to see him tonight. So once again, how would you say, I need to see him tonight? Necesito verlo esta noche. What about, she wants to see him tomorrow? Quiere verlo mañana. You can see him today. Puedes verlo hoy. What's the word for if? Si. And how would you say, if you want? Si quieres. What is you can? Puedes. Now try this next one. You can see him today if you want. Puedes verlo hoy si quieres. So, on our slide of pronouns, we now understand lo for it or him, te for you, and me for me. The next ones that I would like to cover are los and las. Both of these mean them. Now you might say, wait a minute, how can both los and las mean them? Well, los is used when you are referring to a group of all males or a group of males and females mixed together, whereas las is reserved for when the group is only comprised of females. So los is all males or a mixture, whereas las is exclusively females. In the following questions, we'll assume that I want you to use los unless I indicate to you that the group is going to be all females. So how would you say to see them? Verlos. Now say, yes, I can see them. Sí, puedo verlos. I can't see them. No puedo verlos. How would you say, he wants to see them? Quiere verlos. Now, let's suppose they were all females. The group was all female. How would you say he wants to see them? Quiere verlas. Can you see them now? ¿Puedes verlos ahora? What's the word for when? ¿Cuándo? How would you ask? When can you see them? ¿Cuándo puedes verlos? What's the verb to know? Saber. He wants to know when you can see them today. Now here I've indicated that them is a group of all females. Quiere saber cuándo puedes verlas hoy. As you can see, we are quickly learning how to use these little pronouns. The next one from the list that I would like to cover is la. La will mean her. How would you say, I want to see her? Quiero verla. I need to see her. It's urgent. Necesito verla. Es urgente. Now, at this point, there is something very important that I would like to point out to you. We already know that lo carries a double meaning. It can mean it or it can mean him. Now, the same applies to la. It can mean her or it can mean it. Now, at first glance, this appears very strange because we have two words for it or two pronouns for it. It can be either lo or la. Here's how it works. If we were referring to a masculine noun, such as the book, which is el libro, and you were talking to someone and you said, I can see it. In this phrase, you are referring to the fact that you can see the book, el libro. So it will become puedo verlo. Lo, because you are referring to a masculine noun. I can see it, el libro, puedo verlo. However, if you were referring to a feminine noun, such as the door, which in Spanish is la puerta. Now, if you were in conversation and you said, I can see it, referring to la puerta, this is when it would become puedo verla. So in this slide, you can see the difference, puedo verlo or puedo verla. In the first example, I'm referring to I can see him or I can see it when it's a masculine noun like el libro. But in the second instance, you're referring to I can see her, puedo verla, or I can see a feminine noun like the door, la puerta, puedo verla. This is something which we will do a lot more of in-depth practice as we go through the course. It's something intrinsic in Spanish. Let's look at our list of pronouns once again. We have lo, meaning him or it. La, meaning her or it. Then we have los, if they are for them, if they are all males or a mixture of males and females. And las, for them, if they are all females. Then we have te, for you, and me, for me. The next one that I would like to cover is nos. This one at the end. Nos stands for us. How would you say to tell us? Decirnos. She wants to tell us something. Quiere decirnos algo. How would you ask? Do you want to tell us something? ¿Quieres decirnos algo? What about, can you tell us now? ¿Puedes decirnos ahora? Why don't you want to tell us? ¿Por qué no quieres decirnos? When can you tell us? ¿Cuándo puedes decirnos? Let's try one more. He doesn't want to see us. No quiere vernos. So here we have our power pronouns in Spanish. The only one remaining is le, which is a special case. And I'm going to show you or give you a glimpse of how that works in part 3. In the next video, we're going to drill these pronouns that we've already learned with a variety of verbs and sentences. So let's see how you go. In this second video, I'd like to introduce another verb, which is to find. In Spanish, this is encontrar. So we have 3 syllables. Encontrar. Reminds you of the word in English or the verb to encounter. To encounter something in Spanish is like to find something. Encontrar. How would you say to find it? Encontrarlo. Now, how would you say I can't find it? No puedo encontrarlo. How would you say I can't find her? No puedo encontrarla. Here you can see our power pronouns coming into play. We still have the same verb encontrar, but we've changed from lo to la. I can't find her. No puedo encontrarla. How would you say I can't find them? No puedo encontrarlos. Now imagine them were a group of all females. How would you say it now? No puedo encontrarlas. She wants to find you. Quiere encontrarte. Can you find it for me? ¿Puedes encontrarlo para mí? At this stage, I'd like to move into a mixed drill. So we're going to be using the power pronouns randomly in different sentences with different verbs. Here's the first one. Can you see them? ¿Puedes verlos? I don't need to see it. No necesito verlo. Do you want to see me now? ¿Quieres verme ahora? I need to tell you something important. Necesito decirte algo importante. He wants to tell us. Quiere decirnos. Can you see us here? ¿Puedes vernos aquí? I can't find you. No puedo encontrarte. I can't find them. The group is all females. No puedo encontrarlas. I can tell you tonight. Puedo decirte esta noche. I don't want to see her. No quiero verla. Why can't you tell me? ¿Por qué no puedes decirme? She wants to tell us. Quiere decirnos. She can't find me. No puede encontrarme. I want to see you tomorrow. Quiero verte mañana. I can find it for him. Puedo encontrarlo para él. You don't want to tell me. No quieres decirme. Welcome to Pronoun Power 3. If we look again at our slide, we can see that we just have the pronoun of le missing. Now, le is a kind of special case. It means to him or to her. The thing is that some verbs in Spanish and indeed in English naturally fall into this idea of to him or to her. For example, to say to him, or I apologize to her. I give to him, meaning I give something to him, or I send to her. I send something to her. Now, whenever this idea of to him or to her is implied or said in English, this is where the use of the pronoun le will come into play in Spanish. So, the most important thing to realize at this early stage is that le means to him or to her. And there are a group of verbs in Spanish that tend to use this pronoun of le. One of them is the verb to say or to tell. What is that? Decir. So if we wanted to express to tell him or to tell her, in Spanish they view this as to tell something to him or to her. In English we have that same thing with to say, because remember this verb is also to say. So you can say to him, you can say to her. This would be decirle. So now we're not using decirlo or decir la, because what we are implying is that we are saying something to him or to her, and this then becomes decirle in Spanish. Another verb that belongs to that group that takes le is the verb to give. In Spanish, this is dar. So to give him or to give her is the same principle, it's the same idea. I give to him or to her. I give a present to him. I give something to her. So therefore, to give him or to give her in Spanish is darle. Here you can see the pronoun coming into play, darle. Both decir and dar belong to this group of verbs in Spanish that naturally fall into the use of le. So let's practice a little bit. How would you say, I want to tell him? Quiero decirle. How would you say, I need to tell her something important tonight? Necesito decirle algo importante esta noche. How would you say, I can't tell her now? No puedo decirle ahora. I want to tell him. Quiero decirle. As I mentioned, another verb that falls into this group of using le as a pronoun is the verb to give. Do you remember what that was? Dar. How would you say, I want to give him something? Quiero darle algo. In a literal translation, it would be, I want to give to him or to her something. So my main focus of this video so far is to imprint very strongly upon you that the pronoun of le in Spanish implies to him or to her. There's also one more thing to be aware of. If we were to add an S to this and we get the sound of les, that now means to them. For example, I need to tell them would be necesito decirles. So we are not using decirlos or decirlas. We're saying I need to tell something to them. The same principle. Necesito decirles. How would you say, I don't want to tell them now? No quiero decirles ahora. You can tell them tomorrow. Puedes decirles mañana. Why don't you want to tell them? ¿Por qué no quieres decirles? During the rest of the course, I'm going to reveal to you the group of verbs that will use this pronouns of le and les. It's important to also realize that le or les, they don't affect the other pronouns. For example, you can still say decirme to tell me, or decirte to tell you, decirnos to tell us. Le and les only comes into effect with this certain group of verbs when you are talking about something that affects him, her, or them. So the key slide of this entire lesson is that le means to him or to her, and les means to them. You don't have to worry if the them is a group of all males or a mixture or all females. Les covers all of that. So we have le and les. And I'll show you the group of verbs that tend to fall into the use of le and les. This lesson is really just an introduction to the concept of this in Spanish, because you will come across it quite a lot. If I try to find the slide from before where I was giving you examples of these verbs, such as to say to him, well, you can say to them. You can apologize to them, give to them, send to them. This is why we have le and les with all of these kinds of verbs.